Timestamps can be found in the description. What's going on, everybody? We're going to talk about Old People today. Hooray! Old People released this year for Netflix, and I watched it dubbed. So that might be some of my problems with this film, might have something to do with it. This film has no wiki, so the deep dive's once again going to be me attempting to remember the film. I watched this yesterday, and life got in the way. But let's do the quick plot, and I'll bring forth as much of the story as I can, and we'll see how this goes. Residents of a retirement home break free and embark on a killing spree during a violent thunderstorm. The thunderstorm really doesn't pay any need in this. That should not be your description whatsoever. Quick thoughts on the film before we jump into my basic recollection of a lot of uhs and buts and duh and all that fun stuff. I think the film is decent. I don't think it's great, but I think it's better than a lot of the lower budget things. This film was originally in Polish, so our very basic grasp of the English language is going to tamper with the lines and the dialogue of this film. So keep that in mind if I whine about any of that. The film starts off, we meet a family who apparently a recently divorced father and mother. The father's talking to somebody new who works at a retirement home. It has lots of gray and dark lighting, which is showing a lot of the older people's sunken faces and wrinkled skin very well. Technically the film starts off with a home nurse or someone who checks in on old people coming into an older man's house, and it's very creepy. You can tell the door's been left. The refrigerator door was left open, so his food is going bad. She's asking about where he is, and you just see an old crumpled man standing behind her. Once again, lots of decent jump scares in it. She's beaten to death with his oxygen tank as he asks her to help him. After that, we meet the family of a recently divorced mother and father. The father is talking to somebody else who works in a retirement home. The mother, and the daughter are all going to their aunt's wedding. On the ride over, he asks if grandpa's coming. She says, yeah, we'll go and pick him up. That's pretty much it for the beginning part of the film. They go to the retirement home and see that a lot of the older people are being treated poorly because they don't have enough healthcare workers there. So they're having to strap some down to bed so they don't run away. Some of them are sitting in their own stuff for hours. It's really bad mistreatment just because there wasn't enough healthcare workers. We learned that the girlfriend works there. They pick up grandpa, and some of the nurses bring up the fact that a lot of people don't visit. They use the retirement home as like the end of days. They just put them there and never go and visit their family. And that's a different sort of mistreatment. The mother chose to leave Poland for work and her pursuit to open her own law office. And she apologizes to her dad as they wheel him out and get him ready for the wedding. The daughter, after getting to the location with her aunt and her soon-to-be fiance, they're getting ready for the big wedding. The daughter sneaks off to see her boyfriend, and they go to an island where there's a small monument referring to treating old people with respect, because eventually we'll all become that. They are wise in their time, and they outnumber you pretty much. That kind of hints to the old people going crazy. There's also like a small little bit at the beginning of the film. I can't remember what it actually says, but I know it brings up the fact that it's like almost a curse or a plague will like will like affect the old people, and eventually, after so much mistreatment, they're going to rebel, pretty much, something along those lines. After getting back, I originally thought the entire like mass murder was going to happen at the wedding, but it doesn't. They have a fantastic wedding. And after the wedding, it cuts to the retirement home or the healthcare clinic, where a not so kind healthcare worker hears them listening to the music of the wedding and said, "Oh, y'all imagining you're there?" Closes the window and says, "Go to bed, it's too late," like immediately being a dick. And old people are kind of creepy, so they're all just sitting there shaking, and he walks up to one woman who says, "Can we just listen to the music a little bit longer?" And he says, "No, go to bed, blah, blah, blah." And that makes one of the main antagonists of the film stand up, and he's easily like 6'5". He walks up, bashes his head into the glass, I think, and uses the glass to cut this man up. Downstairs, you find another healthcare worker finding an old woman biting into the main power supply of the building, as she instantly dies, but leaves the entire place dark for the old people to attack, murder all the healthcare workers, and begin to their escape. After returning to the farmhouse of which all the families are staying, the new bride and new husband go to their little separated cabin and are met with the old man that attacked the healthcare worker to begin with. He sneaks into their house. There's a giant axe, by the way, in the middle of this room. Like, there's a huge axe, and instead he goes and twists off an end of kind of like a bedpost. It's like this large silver ball. Also, side note, every house in this movie is dusty as shit. Like, I don't know if the director just had a really big fascination with how light bounces against dust, but all of them are insanely dusty. Like, it's really bad. Like, that's how you get scabies. Don't do this. It was really like in your face about it too, which was kind of annoying. Anyway, he unscrews the ball, takes one of his socks off, and begins to go upstairs as they begin to make whoopee. During the process of whoopee, they find the old man is in the room with a ball in his sock, and as he beats the groom to death with it, the bride begins to run downstairs. I think she falls, and he goes down there, and it's a strange kill because he's putting his hands like in her mouth, and it should come off as like a dislocation, but it shows that he breaks her neck. It's a little weird. Doesn't really add up. After that, the daughter or somebody else in the house walks up to the mother and lets the mother know that there are old people outside, and there are like 50 of them. It's going to be hard to explain a lot of this stuff, but I'll try to tackle the main story plots, because once again, this is my memory is only doing so much, and there's no wiki for it, and even the lead-in is almost useless. They can't find the son, who has asthma, which is only important for like a scene. They can't find the son who has asthma. She begins to freak out. She goes outside. The mother goes outside with a gun. The father begins to follow, but the girlfriend holds on to him, saying, "If you love me, you'll stay here." And knowing that his son is missing and his ex-wife is going outside with a gun to shoot old people, they both go outside, he leaves the girlfriend, by the way, which triggers the girlfriend because apparently he's been like saying her name in his sleep and things along those lines. But the most of it is because like he feels abandoned, much like the father, because the wife left their small town to go pursue her career. So the entire film is about abandonment and mistreatment. After going outside, they don't hear anything. No, wait. Yeah, the mother actually ends up going to the side house because I can't remember why. Is once again, I'm sorry. She goes up to the side house to find that both of them were murdered and an old woman is wearing the wedding dress and is trying to attack her. I'm going to kind of just sum up once again major points. After that, they make it back into the house. They find the boy. The boy is fine. He needs his inhaler. The old man who beat one of them to death with the ball in the sock makes his way into the house and makes his way into the house while the girlfriend pretty much leaves a door open or something like that. This is going to be a very bad one. But she leaves the door open, kind of feigns the way that she's going outside, attacks the mother, throws her outside. This is all in the wrong order, but the crazy man makes his way into the house. The girlfriend pushes the mother outside, unconscious. The father fights to get the mother back inside, calling the girlfriend crazy, pretty much. He gets stabbed a lot in the leg, and it turns out they get the mother inside. He gets stabbed a lot. He begins to bleed out because it cut an artery. They make their way through some abandoned tunnels. I say the girlfriend stays and kills herself to buy time, which was poor writing at best. They begin to make their way out the tunnels. Only the daughter and the son make their way out. The mother sacrifices herself to make sure that they are free. At the end of the tunnel, they pop out. They find their grandfather standing there, who has been battling with whether he's truly abandoned or not, so on and so forth. And he's been looking really gloomy and aggressive this entire time. They have a family song that they bring in for a dance number at the wedding, as the old man with the sock has the daughter pinned down. She begins to sing that song, making the grandfather realize that he'll only have one family and he can't turn on them, so he shoots the other guy. They make their way in a boat, the same boat that they've used to get to the monument earlier, but the end of the film is pretty much them saying that this is going to spread like the plague. That's the movie that I can remember. There's a couple of good bits in it, but it's just mediocre. It's right there in the middle of the pack. They had some good stuff to it, but it's just not enough for me to sell on. We're going to go and do plot. The plot, I think, is fine. Old people can be scary. When they move around like zombies and they do a quick move, that's always good. So we're going to give the plot a 7. I think the 7 for that's fine. Scares, there's a couple of decent ones, so I'll give it a 6. The looming threat of this also is pretty good. I can keep it at a 6. But once again, it could come down to the fact that I was watching it dubbed, and we simplify a lot of their words and meanings. So it just kind of came off clunky with that. But the movie itself is just kind of okay. I'm fine with a 5.5 on this one for the overall score. This one's going to be very short because recalling this film, it's mostly just running and trying to figure out small things. There's not a lot if you ask for meat and potatoes and they only give you potatoes, you feel like you're missing something. So I think a 5.5 is fine for this film. This is going to be very short. For that, I apologize. I hope you all have a great day. Take care. Stay scared. See ya.